Hey, this is Jamey from Splendor Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in Marvel Splendor. So yes, there is a Marvel version of Splendor now, and I was curious to try it. I saw a bunch of people playing it at Geekway a couple weeks ago, and I was curious to see what they were thinking about it, how they were playing, what was unique about it, and there were a few elements of it that I really enjoyed for a game that I already enjoyed. I already enjoy Splendor, which is a game largely about drafting these nice chips, these resources. To spend on gaining cards, and once you have those cards, each of those cards generates a resource that you can spend every turn from then on to buy new cards. So it's a really satisfying feeling of progression throughout the game in Splendor. The Marvel version does a few things that I think are really unique. Two quick ones that I think are clever are, one, the top row cards, the level 3 cards, each have a time stone on them, a green gem. And having one of these green gems, and you can only have one per player, this is the only way that you can get them, and a player needs to have a green gem and one other gem of each type on one of the cards that they have to be able to finish the game, to trigger the end of the game, in addition to having 16 total points or higher. So I thought that was a nice little thematic twist and an interesting way to drive players towards these top level cards. I think experienced Splendor players generally go after them. I am not very good at Splendor, and so I rarely look at them, but I had to pay attention to them a lot more this game because I wanted to get one of those time stones. One other little thing also that I really liked about this version of Splendor is that every card is unique. They are both heroes and villains from the Marvel Universe. They dove deep into this universe to get some of these characters. Some were characters that I'd never heard of, or variations on characters like multiverse versions of Spider-Man, for example. But I really like that. In the normal Splendor, I don't get excited about any particular card. This isn't a knock on Splendor at all. I'm fine with Splendor. I love what it is, but I don't think about it thematically at all. But having a unique character for each of these cards made me think a little bit more about which character I was getting. Let me give them a name when I gave that card, or it gave me a sense that I was building, at least very abstractly, a team of heroes or villains, some combination of the two as I was getting this card. So I really like that each card is unique. That kind of ties to my last and favorite mechanism, which is that some of these cards have Avengers icons on them. Here's one on Quicksilver. Let's see if there's any other ones here. Here's two on Iron Man. And when the first time any player accumulates 3 of those icons, they get a 3-point Avengers tile. And they keep that tile until any player has more than 3 or more than the number of Avengers icons that that player has. So if you have 3 Avengers icons, you gain that tile, and then I manage to get 4 Avengers icons on the cards that I have played in my tableau, I get that tile. You lose those 3 points, I gain the 3 points. So we're kind of jockeying for position for the best player to have this Avengers tile. Reminds me a little bit of the game Bruges, even though that one isn't really passing something around, but in Bruges, you are accomplishing a goal and then making that goal harder for the other players to accomplish. The one little thing that I would have liked to see maybe is that I went more of a villainous route, not because I wanted to be villainous, but because those were the cards that lined up with the gems and the other cards that I'd already had in my tableau. And I kind of wish there was a villain equivalent to that in the game, but I can see why they didn't do that. The Avengers are a famous team. There isn't necessarily just as famous of a team among the Marvel villains. But I would have liked that. It would have given me a more sense of cohesion to my villainous team if I had had a similar villainous icon. But I did like the way that icon worked. I especially like the mechanism of kind of king of the hill tile, where you're pulling it around from player to player, trying to have more than the previous player. That I thought was a clever mechanism in Marvel Splendor. If you can think of any other games that use that mechanism, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Or if you have a different favorite mechanism in Marvel Splendor, I'd love to hear about that in the comments below as well. Thanks.